Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're talking about Scram! Get out of here! This is designed by Ted Alspec, and it is published by Bezier Games.
All right, you guys, we went camping recently, and guess what? We heard a lot of different critters and animals and stuff going on outside of our tent every night. Bethany heard like a pack of coyotes at one point.
I did. It was so weird. They whine. I didn't know that. Like, they howl and they, like, whine. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah, so we definitely wanted to minimize the amount of critters that were around our campsite. And that is what Scram is all about. All right, so you are camping, but animals are just, all over your campsite, tearing things up, making a mess out of things. Ugh. So what you're trying to do, you along with your teammates are trying to minimize the amount of animals and critters that are messing up your campsite. All right, so let me give you a quick overview of how to play. All right, here's our setup for Scram. We're set up for a 4-player game. You're going to be partners with the person right across from you. So we're partners, and then those 2 people are partners as well. We have 2 cards in front of you that are face up. The 3 are face down that you don't know what they are yet. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get the lowest possible score between your whole entire team versus the other teams. On your turn, you're going to draw a card. You can either draw the top card of the discard pile, which is face up, or you can draw the top card from the draw pile, which is face down. If you draw a face-up card, you're only going to be using it for its number. In this case, it's a 13. It's a high card. We probably don't want that unless we have a very good reason to, which I'll explain later. So what we're probably going to do is we are going to draw from the draw deck. In this case, this is a 7, but there's also a special ability down here as well. This particular one says, flip 1 card face up. Now, any of the special abilities that appear on the higher cards, they can apply to anybody's campsite, including yourself, your partners, or even your opponents. But in this case, it was kind of early in the game. Let's just get some extra information. Let's just flip over this card. It's an 11. That's not great. Since we use this for its ability, we're going to discard it. The other thing we could do is we could try to swap out a card. So let's say on a future turn we drew this 7. It's 7 again. This time, you know what we're going to do? We're going to swap out this 11 for the 7, trying to lower our score. But it really didn't change how many cards we have. It just lowered out what our total score was. There is in this game an opportunity for you to swap out more than 1 card. Let's say we had multiple 11s of those throughout our cards, as well as our team's cards. What we could have done instead is we could have called out, you know what, I think this one was an 11, I think this one's an 11, and I think that one over there is an 11 on my team's side. In which case, you'd kind of slide them all up. You'd flip any of the cards over that were face down and reveal them. In which case, if you were completely accurate, that would work. You would discard all of those 11s and replace them with that 1 card that you pulled in there. So in this case, the 7. However, if you were incorrect, you still have to take that card. Plus, the more incorrect you were, let's say you had 3 different numbers pop up, you'd have to draw additional cards and place them to your campsite as well. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get multiples of a single card into your or your teammates' camps, so that way you can swap them out with an individual card from the deck, which is really powerful. Even if you take like a high card, like a 10, but you're able to get rid of 3 or 4 5s, that's still a net gain. Plus you have less cards. And why is less cards important? Well, first of all, the score in general is going to be lower, but also there's going to be a point where instead of drawing a card from the deck, if you have 2 or fewer cards in front of you, what you can do is you can call Scram. Scram means basically you are saying, I think that our team is currently winning. So what you're going to do is you're going to be done. That's your whole turn, is just declaring Scram. Every other player is going to get a chance to take 1 more turn. At the end of all that, what we're going to do is we're going to flip over all the cards that are still face down, and we're going to count up each team's points. And whichever team has the least amount of points wins. If there is a tie, whoever called Scram is going to be declared the winner, and they're going to get 0 points for that round. However many points the other team has, that's how many points they're going to record. If you are the team who calls out Scram, but at the end of the round you were not the winner, you did not have the lowest score, you're actually going to get 10 additional points added on. So you want to make sure you're really ahead before you call Scram. We're going to play a total of 4 rounds. At the end of the 4th round, you're going to add up all the points that you've gotten throughout all 4 of the rounds, and whoever has the lowest score wins the game. Now remember, a lot of the higher cards have special abilities, so make sure to use those to your advantage. Like the number 9, for instance, that has a cool ability. It says, place this card in front of you, but you can discard 2 other cards. That's a great way to limit how many cards you have. There's things like the number 11 card over here, the raccoon. It says exchange 2 cards. So you can take a low card on your opponent's side and a high card on your side and swap them out. Or again, you can swap out some cards, making sure that you have sets of something. Even if it's a higher card, it might be worth having a whole lot of 10s, for instance, so you can have that ability to swap them all out and discard them when you take a different card.
I think one of the things that works with this is it's card game plus. So if there's people, and this is what I mean by that, if there's people in your life who already play card games, they're just maybe not board gamers, but they're avid card gamers, 52 deck of cards, they're playing all sorts of stuff. This is just that plus. So it's really easy to introduce this to people who are already familiar with that, because you're just adding one extra thing. You're just adding the text on the cards. Like, people can understand the rules and everything like that. So I really like when a game can do something that people are already familiar with and just add that one extra thing to it.
Yeah, I actually brought this, like I mentioned, I brought it camping with us, and I was able to teach it to a lot of people who weren't gamers, because the rules set was very intuitive, very simple, and at the same time, the theming kind of caught on to what we were doing as we were camping all together. So it's just a really fun experience playing this with those people, because Bethany mentioned it's just like, it's concepts that are familiar, but just a little bit more. Yeah. Nothing that's going to scare them away.
Yeah, and like Ryan mentioned, it's super travel friendly. Like, we did take it camping with us, and I love when a game like merges like that. Like, if there's a game about coffee and you can play it at a coffee shop, a game that deals with camping and you can take it camping with you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
How adorable is that? And it's not a huge table hog. You can definitely play it on a picnic table. There's definitely space for that, and it doesn't take up too much space if you're packing it. Like, it works. It really works.
All right, so this is primarily a 4-player or a 6-player game. There is special rules for a 3-player, but besides that, this is a 4-player or a 6-player game.
Yeah.
That might be a harder, number of players for some people. Like, we primarily play with 2 players, or we're playing with our daughters, 3 or sometimes 4. But this is probably a little too much for our youngest at this point. Yeah. But eventually this will be great for the 4 of us. But if your play group consists of, like, say 2, 3, or 5 players, this one might be a little bit harder for you guys to get to the table. Yeah. That being said, at 4 and at 6, it is super fun. It's just a really snappy team-based game. Yeah. So keep an eye out for that if you're in that 2, 3, or 5 player camp.
Okay, so you know how we all know.
You said I said camp. Did you get it?
I did get it. Camp. Ha 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 ha. Knee slapper. Okay, so you know how we all play, like, card games, but we all call them different names depending on, like, regionally where you are, but it's the same game. So this actually reminded me of a game that I used to play when I was a kid. We called it golf. If this sounds familiar to you, let me know in the comments below what you called it wherever you grew up. But essentially this game is you have 4 cards in front of you. They're all face down. Before the game starts, you're able to look at the 2 in the middle. You can look at them, and then you put them down, and you have to memorize it. And you're swapping out cards, and you're trying to get the lowest amount, and eventually you call golf, and then your opponent gets 3 turns, and then you flip them over. Who has the lowest amount wins. And aces are 1, I think. Anyway, that reminded me of it, but that was great because that means that I can teach it to my entire family because we've already played this game. Like I said earlier, it's that similar game just with a little bit more. So it's that perfect family weight game. Like Ryan said, if you have a higher player count, sometimes if you're not able to get a higher player count, sometimes that is an issue. But if you already have family members that are card players, they just play cards regularly, they just get out and play euchre and hearts, you can easily teach this to them while you're camping.
That's absolutely right. I think the theme came together really, really well with that camping theme. The artwork was adorable. It was all these nuisance animals, but at the same time, they weren't like they were cute on the card art, and it made you want to play with them. And
I really liked the otters.
It was adorable.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see us ever going camping without taking this with us because we had so much fun doing it the first time. So yeah, if you're like us, if you're looking for a 4 to 6 player game, a 4 or 6 player game that you can bring with you camping or wherever you want to go, check out Scram.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.